Hello and welcome to another episode of Laptop Retrospective, and today I am bringing you another product from Vankyo, which is a company that I've featured on this channel quite a few times, and they do send me products to test. These are not personally purchased by me, however I choose to review them objectively and as fairly as possible. One of the reasons that they are a returnee to the channel so many times, and this is genuinely my opinion, I'm not being paid to say this, I find that Vankyo is one of those brands that knows its market very, very well. They do a very good job of balancing features with price. So if there are specific things that you need that are normally available in higher price categories, they are usually available on some of the products that they feature, and they just find other ways to get the cost down to an area where everyone can have access to it. And today we are going to be looking at their gaming headset, the CM7000, and it is another one of those such experiences. One thing before I forget is that this is the blue edition of this headset, but it is also available in red. And I think that's one of the ways that they have kind of helped keep the cost down, is that they don't have a complex RGB system in the headset. And generally speaking, red and blue are just classic competing colors. A few things that are really, in my opinion, very much worth paying attention to is the wide range of compatibility that this thing has out of the box. What this actually allows you to do is pretty much plug it into nearly anything without an adapter. The only piece of hardware that does require the adapter is the Xbox One, so there is an additional adapter that you will need to get this headset running. However, it does include a split audio adapter, so if you need to split those channels into headphone and microphone, you can do that. If you just need headphone microphone combo, it can do that, and if you want that USB adapter as well, you have that. So in this way, I think they've really decided to focus on the adaptability and the usability. Without further ado, let's open this thing up and see what we get in the box. All right, the literature comes out first, and there's all sorts of interesting things in there we'll take a look at in a moment. The headset kind of comes out, and nothing else in the box. So we'll put the box off to the side, and remove this kind of hodgepodge of cables and stuff from its cardboard prison. All right, normally I don't start with the manual, but we are going to today because this is one thing in my mind that Vankyo has consistently done well with all of their products, and that's having a detailed manual. So it does give us just a quick information sheet on all the different pieces that we have. And then it gives us a detailed instruction list on not only the pieces, explaining this control unit here, as well as how to connect it. So it shows us the three options on how to connect it to a PC. On the following page, it shows us the Xbox One with the additional piece that would not be included, the PlayStation 4, the PS Portables, and again, Nintendo Switch, mobile devices. It's all listed in here. There are some specifications, as well as a troubleshooting guide here. That's the end of the English section. There is an additional insert, which is, I think, kind of handy, which is, what should I do if my teammates can't hear me? So make sure that the 4-pole jack is fully inserted, so make sure that you're checking that. Make sure that the microphone on-off button adapts to red, and then make sure that this button on the headset is released and not pressed down. So they're really, really clear on this instruction sheet with little diagrams, exactly what you need to do. And it also shows you how to connect to the Xbox with the older version as opposed to the Xbox One S/X. So again, they really knock it out of the park with these detailed instructions, and I think that's actually a really good selling feature, because if you're buying this for someone as a gift and they may not know exactly what they need to do, these manuals, I think, are something that really should hold Vankyo as a reliable choice. Let's talk about what we get in the box. So we do have the headset, which has a split USB as well as 4-pole combo jack here. If you need to adapt the 4-pole combo jack, you can certainly do that to traditional microphone and headphone. Easily done there. If you need to put it into something to give you those microphone inline controls, then you go ahead and plug those two in, and then this simply goes into the computer and you're good to go. It is worth noting that all of these cables are braided, which is really nice to see. That usually adds to some pretty significant longevity. The one thing that I will note is that this cable, which is designed to be clipped to a t-shirt, is not terribly long. So if you're planning on using this in a situation where your device is going to be a long ways away from you, and you still want to connect to the console or the computer, well, let's find out how exactly long it is. So from end to end, this part is only 3 feet. So just keep that in mind. Thank you, measuring tape. Now that we have the accessories out of the way, let's go ahead and look at the construction of this headset. So it is light. It is primarily made out of plastic in many areas. This piece right here is made out of aluminum according to the manufacturer. Then we have a very light feeling headset, and that has pros and cons to it, of course. Light does mean that it's not as heavy on your head, but the build materials might not provide the most longevity possible, but that is kind of the balance that you are always fighting with price as well. In terms of controls, we do have the volume control for the headphones here, located just on the back of the left ear cup. This is the mute microphone button here, so it kills the microphone at this point here. And remember that it also has a kill switch down here as well, so you do need to be mindful that there are 2 kill switches, and that really will depend, of course, on how this is being plugged into a computer or console. So if we look at the ear cups, these include a 7.1 surround sound 50mm driver. If you want to know if they fit your ears well, on the inside of the cup is about just 2 3/4 inches tall. And then in terms of its width, at its widest point is just about 1 3/4 inch. And I think that's a little bit on the small side in comparison to some headphones that I've seen, but I'll reserve my judgment obviously for when I actually wear it and use it. This will actually be the first headset with a double banded setup, so I'm actually really curious to try this. I've never actually worn one like this before. And it is also worth noting that the microphone is a noise canceling setup, and it is fairly adjustable. It isn't what I would call the most rigid setup. It'll more or less stay in place. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and spend some time with this, set it up, record some audio with it to get a feel for what exactly it sounds like, and report my findings back to you in this next video clip. All right, so let's do a quick audio test of this microphone. So I'm going to go ahead and put on the headset and adjust the microphone like so. And this is more or less what the microphone sounds like, and I can adjust the sensitivity of it using the inline control down to something that might be a bit more realistic. As far as noise canceling goes, it seems to do fairly well with ambient noise. And once adjusted, it seems to provide an adequate sound, which I will hear once I go ahead and play it back. So one of the things that I've gone and done is moved the microphone pretty much in line with this ear cup. I found wrapping it around to my mouth created a lot of interference on the stereotypical letters like S's and P's that would normally require some kind of pop filter. I think that this microphone does struggle a little bit with those, so by putting it straight out and upping the sensitivity just a tiny bit, does a considerably better job of creating audio that is cleaner and a little bit crisper and doesn't struggle too much with particular punctuation of certain sounds. It is worth noting on the inline controls as well that we can turn off the LEDs on the actual headset itself if we find those too distracting. The button in the middle toggles 7.1 surround sound on and off. One thing that I will point out is the actual audio itself on the inside of the cups. I listened to some music and I played some games with these. The conclusions that I can draw are essentially 3. The first is that even at full maximum volume, I can actually still comfortably use these. So keep that in mind if you are a person that does like to have the ability to have that overwhelmingly loud sound, so loud that you wouldn't even dare listen to it, then this will not meet those needs. Maxed out at full volume, I found it still to be acceptable on my ears without being painful, so take that as you will. The second has to do with the volume control itself. I found that the travel on, I would say, the first 3/4 of the volume control was a very gradual, very subtle rise to maximum volume, but the last, I would say, 1/4 inch of travel on that dial was easily more distinguishably louder in terms of ratcheting that up than the first 3/4. So if you, again, like to dial in your sound on the quieter side, then about 3/4 of the dial seem to be dedicated to that, with the last 1/4 dedicated to fine-tuning that louder volume. So just, again, something to keep in mind. The other thing to note is the 7.1 surround sound feature is activated by hitting this button. The main thing that I noted is that it added a little bit more bass. I'm not 100% sure how they're simulating that 7.1 surround sound. Every company has their own way of trying to cram 7.1 surround sound through 2 stereo speakers. Didn't hurt the experience. I'm glad the button is there. I'm glad the option is there. I'm not an audiophile enough to know the minute differences and notes and flavors of some of the audio that I know that some of you, the connoisseurs, will certainly be. One additional thing that I'll mention that I have found during testing this is the system that is used to keep tension on this top band that fits against your head is quite strong. You can see actually in here, there's essentially cables that are on some kind of ratchet that are putting considerable force on making sure that this is fitting tightly to your head. In my experience, and I think it has mostly to do with the size of my head, what I'm finding is that this system is actually pulling up on the headset, so the earlobes in the bottom of my ears, I can actually feel the pressure in this specific area of the cup because it is being pulled up so strongly by this system. I think that a child or a younger individual, you know, like maybe a smaller teenager or a person that is in their adolescence or just has a smaller head would have considerably less trouble with this, but it is something that I do want to point out, is that if you do think of yourself as having a bit of a larger head, don't be surprised when you go to put this on and when those ratchets kick in to try and snug it up, that you start to feel a little bit of pull on the bottom of the ear cup. Well, ladies and gentlemen, those are my impressions of the Vankyo C7000 gaming headset, known as the Commander. For the price point, there is a lot to like. The construction is good, the microphone is good, the sound is good. There are a lot of good things. The accessories that come in the box is excellent. The compatibility with other systems is excellent. And I think that that's really what you're getting your money's worth, is that you're getting that compatibility and you're getting that ease of use. Everything else is still good, but in my mind, there are a few areas that if price were no object, you could certainly purchase something more in line with whatever your needs might be. So hopefully this review has given you some insight onto what this is all about and whether or not it's a good fit for you and your budget and your needs. If you are interested in getting one of these headsets, I will leave some Amazon links down in the description below where you can purchase either the blue or the red one. I kind of like the blue, if I'm honest. Fits more of what I've got in my office downstairs. And if you have any questions about this headset or is anything that I might be able to help you with, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. As always, if you have enjoyed this content, I'm going to encourage you to do the big four. Please like the video, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so the next time I feature a headset on this channel for your needs, you'll be the first to know about it. So thank you so much, and I will see you next time.